Hi, my name is David Sanchez, and I will be refuting Jacob Herrera. His major claim is electoral voting provides an unequal distribution of votes in the presidential elections. His supporting claims, he has three. One is popular vote plays no role in national count. Two, the winner takes all methods provide no equal distribution among electors. Three, the voting power for each state varies depending on size. My major claim that I'm using to refute is the electoral voting equalizes the distribution of votes in the presidential election. Before we go on, Jacob actually undermines his own claim when he states the Electoral College is a system of voting was actually created by the founding fathers because they were afraid of the masses becoming too powerful. They made it to where smaller states can become equally as powerful in the voting elections as the much larger states. And Jacob's supporting claim and his first supporting claim, popular vote plays no vote in national count. Jacob gives an example of how Democrat Al Gore won the popular vote by over 500,000 votes over George W. Bush, yet Bush won the presidential election. Jacob does not address or give evidence of where this popular vote came from which states or regions did Al Gore get this popular vote from. Jacob used a quote from Carolyn Jefferson Jenkins, the president of the League of Women Voters in the United States, to support this statement. The popular vote, which states, the popular vote does not matter in national count because elections are based on the voting of the Electoral College. Jacob fails to explain if the popular vote counts in the state level, which it does, and you'll see why in a bit. If popular vote was the form of electing presidents, the presidential candidates would only give their attention to larger states with the most population, discarding the smaller states. And this is what the founding fathers were afraid of. Popular vote does not give small states equal votes in presidential elections. According to Dr. Daniel Conforti, a political science professor, in his book Political Science, 3rd edition, page 76 states that California has a population of 30 million, Wyoming has a population of 1/3 of a million, Californians outnumber Wyoming's by a ratio of 90-1. However, in the Electoral College system, California only outnumbers Wyoming by a ratio of 18-1, showing how the Electoral College gives these smaller states, like Wyoming, a voice when voting. And Jacob's second point, he states that the winner takes all method does not provide equal distribution among electors. Jacob fails to address how this method does not provide equal distribution among electors. Jacob just states that the Electoral College is distributed among the states based on population, and goes on saying how this gives the title to most of the states if they're Democratic or Republican, like California and Texas. Yet he does not address how this method is supporting his claim, which says that the winner takes all method does not provide equal distribution among the electors. What is the winner take all method? According to the winner takes all versus proportional representation by archive.favorite.org, states that winner takes all systems elect the candidates who receive the most votes, thereby allowing 50.1% of voters to win 100% representation. For example, if we were to vote right now for a candidate to represent our class, the candidate with the most vote wins our representation, no matter how many students we have in the class. And how is this unequal distribution of votes? Jacob also fails to explain how the winner takes all method systems are not instituted in every state. According to comforting, the winner-takes-all system is not provided in the Constitution. Each state devises its own rules concerning the makeup of their respective electoral college. This gives states an equal distribution of opportunity for electoral candidates. In conclusion, as Jacob himself stated, the electoral college is a system of voting was actually created by the founding fathers because they were afraid of the masses becoming too powerful. They made it to where smaller states can become equally as powerful in the voting elections as much as the larger states. And this is the truth of the matter. But why is this important? If his claim is true, then we would have to make another constitutional convention to take this out of the Constitution, which would be impossible. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, well, the main proposition's labeled and the secondary points are spelled out, and that took you about 36 seconds. So that's kind of what I mean when I said you want to be a little bit more efficient. In the body of the argument, though, I think sometimes you do seem to be a little bit lackadaisical about getting to the point, and you need to be a little bit more deliberate. For example, the argument about the Electoral College and what its function is needs to be clearer. You say that you kind of agree that it's the founding fathers were concerned about the power of the masses. They wanted to make sure that all the states had representation and that everybody, that the executive power was put into the hands of somebody who couldn't just be a regional leader or a popular leader, but they had to be a national leader, and that's kind of what it's based on. I think one of the things that's missing here is a more complete explanation of that process. We think of ourselves as being a democratic country, and we are, in the sense, because people do vote on these things, but it's really a republic where we vote for people to represent us, and the ways in which they represent us are all different, and that's one of the things that happens here. We have a federal system that's designed, it's not just a national government, we have a federal government that is supposed to coordinate what the states do, and then there's an independent government that manages other kinds of things. And so that the states have a whole variety of responsibilities, and that's one of the reasons that they gave them that power. And I think, put it into context here with the California-Wyoming comparison. Look, if we just did it on population, California would be 90 times more powerful than Wyoming when it comes to the influence on the election. This gives Wyoming a greater representation, which is necessary because that's part of the federal process. The goal is to make sure that the states are all included in the process, and otherwise they would be marginalized. And that's the question. Are we willing to marginalize states for the advantage of having all votes count the same in the popular vote? Why is that more important? There's not a discussion on that issue, and that's kind of a value claim, but there's a value claim behind these issues, and I'm not sure that either side was wise in ignoring it. I don't know that you get much in challenging the numbers on Gore v. Bush. The issue is where were those votes coming from, and I think this would be one of those places where you could say it's not enough that you have the total number of votes, but the states matter. And a couple of examples from that one, Gore's own state did not vote for him in the Electoral College. He did not get in the popular vote in his own state. But in some other states where there's a vast plurality of Democratic representatives, for instance, they run the vote up, and they've got, in California, for instance, you get 3 million Democratic votes to maybe 2 million Republican votes. They got a million excess votes here. Well, that's going to offset. But in other states where somebody should be favored, they lose in that situation. That's really a reflection of how that locality feels whereas the other is just a reflection of where the population is distributed. And I think that's kind of the way that you're trying to present that argument, but you need to make that a little bit firmer. The equal distribution idea, the winner-take-all thing, I think gets a little bit confusing at the end. I didn't understand your hypothetical talking about the class at all. I mean, I know that there's a point that you're trying to make here. I think the idea might be, look, if we have 18 people in here voting for a representative and 2 people support one candidate and all the other candidates are supported by only 1 vote, then the one who has 2 wins, even though they only got 2 votes out of the 18 votes here. That's the way it works, and that's what a winner-take-all situation would be like, and that's how those things work. Maybe that's the explanation that you're talking about, but I'm having to make an inference there to figure that out, and I shouldn't be making those inferences. You should be making the inferences. All right, thank you.